Hey everyone, it's me, Donna. As I have mentioned in a previous video on back, I had some ideas for what I thought would make a successful hospital, and I discussed, all the different ideas that I had and all that. Well, in my last video, I talked about my inspiration for coming up with an idea for a brand spanking new hospital for the area that I live in Russellville, Alabama. I really think that a new hospital would be a wonderful idea. I think it's going to be needed eventually. So why not just go ahead and get started with building it, It can be built while the old hospital is still running, and then everything can be transferred over to the new hospital under new management. And I think that hopefully there will be better pay with a new hospital, especially for support staff. I think those people have a pretty hard job, and they deal with a lot on a daily basis. So I think they deserve better respect and better pay than what some hospitals tend to pay. Because you know what? You would be surprised at what some hospitals deem as good pay for their support staff. It's kind of sad. But unfortunately, we live in a greedy society where, some hospitals can get away with doing that, and I don't think that's right. So I definitely think good pay should be a huge consideration when hiring for your support staff, okay? All right. With this new hospital, now this is how I envision it to look. And of course, the developers can do what they want to or whatever. This is just my vision and my ideas of how I think it should be, But anyway, I think this hospital should be 4 stories. I also think it should have a basement. And in the basement, I think there should be a morgue. I know that makes people cringe, but I think a morgue is needed. As for the quick removal of bodies from wherever they are within the hospital, I think it would be a good idea to have a in-house mortician who can go and remove the body and take it down to the morgue and preserve it for when the funeral homes can actually turn loose and come get the body, because you would be surprised at how long some bodies have laid in a hospital until the funeral homes could come and get the body. So I just think it'd be a good idea to be able to move these bodies as quickly as possible and, get them out of the area so that it can be cleaned and keep things moving along. I know that sounds cold, but that's the reality of it. So I wanted to put that as best as I could, but that's the best way I can do it. Okay. All right. Also in the basement, I think it'd be a good idea to have offices, various types of offices, vending machines, a break area for some staff, a storm shelter. I think that is one thing that definitely should be considered anytime new buildings are built. I think some of them definitely should include storm shelters, especially hospitals, because that way, I just think it'd be safer and a good idea to have something like that. Also, generators, rooms to hold generators, storage areas for the maintenance departments and other departments that want to store equipment and all that. And that's something that definitely I think should be a big consideration with a new hospital is storage. All the departments are going to want storage for their various equipment, from the new equipment to the old equipment, you name it, every department. Even dietary, housekeeping, whatever. I think they need areas for their storage, dietary for their dry goods and all that type of thing. Every department should be considered when building this hospital as for storage. Okay. All right. Moving up to the first floor, I think when you walk in, there should be a huge lobby. With plenty of seating areas, plenty of space for the flow of traffic coming in and out. And of course, naturally, you want elevators. Anytime you have, a hospital with more than one floor, you're going to want elevators, stairs, all that. Okay. All right. In my design, when you look to your left, there will be your ER department. Of course, you'll have restrooms. Each floor should have restrooms, vending machine areas, all that type of thing. That should be a give me. That way, you don't always have to go to one particular floor if you need a cold drink or whatever. It'd be nice if those vending machines were there available for you to make that purchase. You're most likely going to want to make a purchase if it's conveniently located where you are at. I mean, that's just logic. And it would make more money for the hospital and for the vending machine companies, okay, as well as the product manufacturers. Okay, but anyway. All right. Moving on. Naturally, you have your ER department, your ER waiting room area, your reception area, and then on back behind that, you will have your actual ER patient area. I think this should be a private. All the beds in this facility should be private. I think that's pretty vital. As for, because you don't want everybody to hear everything that's going on with your patient. I think is for HIPAA regulations and everything. I think privacy should be a huge consideration. So in the ER area, it should be divided up into almost like a cell-like areas to where there's one bed in each one, and you have your door or your curtain or whatever. That way you can have your privacy, all that. Okay. All right. Heading in the back area on toward your right, it should be, in my opinion, the surgery area where all the different types of surgeries are performed. I think that would be a good area for that. All right. Then moving on back, because in my design, the first two floors are going to be stretched out and elongated in the front part of the hospital, but also there's going to be a elongated back wing of the hospital that is going to reach all the way from the first floor all the way up to the fourth floor. Okay, so in that back area, I think it would be a good idea to have offices, management offices, as well as counseling services. I think it would be a good idea for this hospital to offer counseling to people out there, as well as support group meetings and all that type of thing. Maybe even AA and all that type of stuff. I think it would be just a really good idea if this hospital could provide that for this community. I think it might save lives. It might help a lot of people. All that type of thing. Okay. All right. Then moving on back up to the front part to your right, I think should be a convenience store / gift shop area. Because, if you just put in a gift shop, naturally in a lot of your gift shops, it's just a bunch of overpriced stuff. But if you put in, your coffee area, as well as your snacks and sweets and all that, you want to offer that. And, stuff that you would normally offer in a gift shop. Little trinkets and doodads and all that. But also, I think it would be a good idea to set it up kind of like a convenience store to where people can purchase things that maybe they forgot to bring with them to the hospital that they would need, from mouthwash to toothpaste to razors to shampoo to you name it. I just think it'd be a good idea if the hospital could provide that. That way, people don't have to take off, like their families don't have to go and leave and go somewhere else to get it. They can get it right there in the hospital. I think it'd be a good money-making thing for the hospital, as well as a good convenience for the patient and their family. Any family that's staying with the patient, they can just go down there and pick up. And I'm talking about even like shirts and stuff like that. Naturally you're going to have your shirts and your pants or whatever for like a gift shop. the more expensive stuff. But I think it'd be a good idea if this convenience store could also offer cheaper clothing items that people can just get on the go. I mean, if the Dollar Tree can offer cheap shirts for like $1, surely to goodness, the hospital can get a hold of vendors that can offer shirts that people can buy for, pretty good price, decent price, I should say, to where, if they need a shirt, conveniently need a shirt, I just think it would be a good idea. Okay. All right. Behind that, I think should be a big cafeteria to where there's plenty of room for, people to come in and eat and all that. And then back behind that should be the actual dietary department where all the cooking and all that goes on, and patient food prep and all that, as well as the offices for the dietitian and their bosses and all that type of stuff. Okay. I think that the actual dietary department should be in a spot that's more private to where the workers will not be bothered by people walking up and down the halls. Now, it's one thing if, you have family, if you work in those departments and you have family that want to visit or whatever, and, there's ways that they can do that or whatever, but I just don't think that anybody walking down the hall should be able to peek inside the dietary department and bother people. I just think leaving doors open and all that is a bad idea. So I think in a spot like that would put it more in a private area away out of the spotlight. And I just think it'd be a better idea. Okay. Also beside that, I think there should be the housekeeping department, and then beside the housekeeping department should be the maintenance department. And like I have said, I think that those departments should be given good storage areas to store their equipment and what have you, as well as places for housekeepers to push their buggies into when they're through for the night or whatever, or through for their shift. They have a spot to go push their buggies into and, shut the door or whatever. And I just think that would be a good idea. Also, I think all the departments should be given break rooms to where they can have a private place to go sit down and take a break. It doesn't have to be a big spot, just a little small spot, to where they can go sit down and do that and have their lockers and all that stuff. Even if you want to combine, say, like housekeeping and dietary, to where they can share a break room and lockers and whatever, that's fine. As long as it's, it's something to where each person from the department can have a place to go to sit down, to get away from everybody, except for maybe, your coworkers or whatever. But that way you're away from the public, you're not bothered, and you can take your 15 minutes or whatever, or even 30 minutes, your 30-minute lunch break or whatever. You can get away from everything and kind of relax and unwind and then, refresh yourself and what have you. I just think that's something that's good for all the departments to have. Even if one or two of them have to share, at least if they have it, it's there, they can use it. Okay? All right, moving on to the second floor. I think the second floor would be a great floor to have the labor and delivery department. To your right, when you come up out of the elevator or stairs or whatever, it'd be nice to have a big lobby. All the floors should have a decent sized lobby, not necessarily, like from the second floor up, a huge lobby, but at least a good, decent-sized lobby to where there's plenty of room for people to sit down and watch TV and drink coffee or whatever. Also provides the vending machines in this lobby area, bathrooms, whatever, to where people can go and, sit and wait for whatever is happening, okay? All right. Looking to your left, after you come out of the elevators and step into the lobby, whatever, looking to your left, naturally will be a set of offices. Then you will have your nurses station, your small nurses station. Then after that will be the patient rooms. And then after that will be the labor and delivery department. I think that would be a good location for that. Okay, then if you move on back to the center, if back behind that, on that back wing, that's another spot for your labor and delivery patients, patient rooms, that type of thing. That can be located back there. And then off to your left, off to your right, that would be a good area for your women's services. And then after that, like where women can go in for OB services or whatever, while they're pregnant or whatever, just women's services. Okay. Also, after that could be a nurse's station and more patient rooms on that wing. And then, also at the very back part of that could be offices, for maybe doctors or, whatever, office workers, whatever. That'd just be a good area for that. Okay. All right. Then up on the 3rd floor, I think it would be a good idea to have just your regular patient rooms up on the 3rd floor. That way you've got plenty of room. You've got all the 3 wings that can be devoted to just regular patients. You have your nurse's station, your lobby area with bathrooms and vending area, offices, room for offices, storage. Then, of course, it would be nice to your right, maybe, or wherever they want to put it on the 3rd floor, to have a physical therapy department to where patients can get whatever physical therapy that they need. They can even have an area with a whirlpool to put patients in for that. Also, it would be nice to have a room where there's plenty of room, a big spacious room set up to where it's almost like a little small track to where they can walk patients around in this room instead of having them walking up and down the halls, because I've noticed this in a lot of hospitals. It's very hazardous for patients to be walked up and down the hallways with all kinds of equipment and people walking up and down the halls. There's all kinds of things in the way. I don't care how big you build the hospital. There just never seems to be enough room for both, physical therapy, walking patients down the hall, and other people and equipment and all that stuff going up and down the hall. So it would be nice if they would just take all the patients that need physical therapy to this room and let them do their walking around within this room. And that way it's less hazardous. It's just better for everybody if they do that. Okay. All right. Okay. And then, of course, I believe I mentioned about, all 3 wings. Yeah, being dedicated to the patient rooms, patient beds. And as I have said, I think it would, all the rooms should be private, and an area for the families to be able to, like a big couch that will pull out into a bed, to where if you have family members or visitors or whatever that want to stay the night with you, if you're a patient or whatever, then they have a comfortable place to do that instead of just chairs or whatever. You want a good seating area for visitors to come in and visit the patient. I think it makes the patient happier, it makes the visitor happier, and it makes everybody happier all the way around. Okay? So that should definitely be something that should be put into the hospital. Okay? All right. All right, moving on up to the 4th floor. I think this floor should be dedicated to the CCU department, for all your critical patients, to, like, when you come in from the elevators and, your lobby and all that. All right, when you look to your left, you should have, a set of offices on the hall, as well as the nurse's station. Then you've got your patient rooms, and then you've got your CC room, or your CCU department, dedicated to your critical care patients. Okay. And then after they're moved from the CCU, then they can be put in those patient rooms in that area, okay? That way they're close by. If anything goes wrong, then they're right there, and they can be immediately moved back to the critical care unit if need be, okay? All right. Then on the back wing, that should be like the cardiac department, where patients who have heart problems and all that type of thing, they can get the care that they need from this department. They can do heart monitoring or whatever they need to do. They can also do like stress tests and all that type of thing in this department, okay? All right, then moving on back up toward the front to your right, naturally, you will see more offices, and you will see a nurse's station for that wing, and you have your patient rooms as well as your dialysis department. So this department will be where patients who have dialysis needs can get whatever they need for dialysis in this area. Like you have your patient rooms for them, for the dialysis patients. That should be where they should be put. And then when they need their dialysis treatments, they can just be moved into the dialysis department, get their treatment, and then brought back to their patient room, if that makes any sense. I didn't mean to flub that up, but that's what I was trying to say for that. So, yeah, that's pretty much, I mean, I know there's a lot that I'm not even thinking of, but this is just what's popped in my head so far. I hope people like this, like my ideas and everything. But yeah, that's what I can come up with as of right now. But of course, the developers, I'm sure they will come up with a lot more that I haven't even thought of, you know. So, but yeah, talk to you guys later. Bye.